Okay, so today basically we're gonna be doing the rat dissection. So let's start with the procedure first. Place the rat dorsal side up and pin limbs out. Second, make a shallow midline incision from the pelvis to the throat. Reflect and pin skin flaps. Third, carefully repeat the midline cut through the muscle layer to open the abdomen. Cut the ribs literally to expose the thorax. So this is the procedure. So first, this is the respiratory system. First, we observe the respiratory system. When the thoracic cavity is open, the thin ringed trachea is clearly seen leading into the chest. On both sides of the cavity, we find the lungs, soft and spongy in texture. Just below the lungs lies on the diaphragm, a thin muscular sheath that separates the chest from the abdomen and controls breathing. Not only that, there's also cardiovascular system. Next, we look at the cardiovascular system. At the center of the thorax is the heart, protected by the thin membrane called the pericardium. Attached to the heart are major vessels including the aorta, the largest artery carrying oxygenated blood, and the vena cava which brings out blood back to the heart. Moving into the abdomen, we examine the digestive system. The large dark organ at the top is the liver. Beneath it sits the stomach, which begins the digestive process. Connected to the stomach is the long and called small intestine, responsible for nutrient absorption. Below the small intestine lies the large intestine, also called the colon, where water is absorbed. You may also see the spleen, a thin dark organ involved in the immune function. Here is the urinary system. On both sides of the spine are the kidneys which filter waste from the blood. Each kidney drains into a thin tube called the ureter, which leads down to the urinary bladder, a small sac that stores urine. This is the most important part, which is the reproductive system. For the male rat, we identify the testes inside the scrotal sacs. Each testis connects to the epidermis and the vas deferens, which carry sperm. For the female reproductive system, we look at the uterus, which branches into two uterine horns, where embryo development occurs.